Hey you guys, welcome to our project with Jonathan, JL, Caleb, and I, Sarah Jane, and we chose to do Romans 5. Now, Romans 5 explains what it means to be justified by faith. Paul teaches that because of Jesus, we now have peace with God, access to grace, and hope that does not disappoint. The chapter also explains how sin entered the world through Adam, bringing death, but grace came through Jesus Christ, bringing life. Where sin increased, God's grace also increased even more. Jesus' sacrifice restored what was broken and reconciled us to God, not because we earned it, but because of His love.
What does it mean to have peace in God? To have peace in God means to not fear of what's to come because we know He's always going to be there for us, even when we may not feel Him. Also, this peace is given through being made right through Christ, which means to be filled with the Spirit and have the forgiveness of God. It may be hard to have this peace due to our struggles, which leads to my next question. How can our struggles help grow our faith? According to Romans 5, our struggles help our faith grow by teaching us to trust in God and be patient during hard times. When we face difficulties, they build our endurance, which shapes our character and makes us stronger spiritually. This process also strengthens our hope, showing us that God is faithful and His love is real. Through these challenges, we experience God's love through the Holy Spirit, and our faith becomes deeper, stronger, and more lasting. Struggles then are not just obstacles, they're opportunities for our faith to grow and mature.
So why does having faith in God bring us joy? Well, in the very first verse in this chapter, we see that it talks about being justified through faith and giving us peace with our God. This peace removes all guilt and fear and allows us to feel this deep joy that we otherwise wouldn't have. Then, in the second verse, it says that we have gained access because of this faith to God's grace, allowing us to stand confidently in God's love instead of having to worry about getting His approval. Verses 3 and 4 tell us that we can be joyful even in our sufferings because we know that these sufferings are simply trials, and trials produce perseverance, and perseverance produces character, and character produces hope. And this hope does not disappoint because God's love is given to us through the Holy Spirit, and that brings us joy.
So, how has Adam's sin influenced the earth? Adam's sin influenced the earth by allowing sin and death to enter the world, which then spread to all people. Through Adam's one act of disobedience, humanity fell under condemnation, and death took over the earth, even over those who didn't sin like Adam did. In verse 14 it says, "Still everyone died, from the time of Adam to the time of Moses, even those who did not disobey an explicit commandment of God as Adam did." His sin affected not just himself, but all creation, making every person a sinner by nature and subject to death. This chapter explains that Adam's failure shaped a world ruled by sin, which is why humanity needed Christ, the last Adam, whose obedience brings righteousness and life, and the gift of God's grace.
Now, how can we receive God's grace? We are saved through God's grace by placing our faith in Jesus Christ, not by our own good works or deeds. Now, Romans 5 also teaches that God's grace is greater than sin and brings hope even in suffering. Paul explains that trials produce perseverance, character, and hope, reminding believers that God is still working in their lives. Through Jesus, we are reconciled to God and given new life, replacing the death brought by Adam's sin with the life offered through Christ. This chapter emphasizes that salvation comes entirely from God's grace, reassuring believers that their faith rests not in human effort, but in the finished work of Jesus.
So what does this all mean? This chapter tells us how faith is used to bring us joy, hope, and an overall better quality of life. We learn that faith makes us right with God, which will bring us joy, and it even gives us joy in sufferings because we know that those sufferings are really only trials that produce perseverance, character, and hope. So suffering is not meaningless, and because Christ died for us while we were still sinners, we can be confident in our salvation and rejoice in our relationship with God. So because of this, we are called to trust the Lord in our trials and sufferings, and instead of letting these hard times discourage us, we allow them to draw us closer to God. So let this chapter encourage us, all of us, to live a life of faith and hope, rejoicing in the love that God gives us and sharing this love and joy with those around us.
God is faithful and hope.
Through Jesus, I'll start the second paragraph.
Commandment of God, as Adam did. Now,
Me, Jonathan, JL, and Caleb. Oh, okay, let me try that again.
Because of what? Let's restart. It's about being justified through faith. Restart.
In verse 12, it says, when Adam sinned,
Based on our worthiness. I'm so sorry. Can I try that?
which basically means that I forgot the question. Can I change the question?
Now, how can we receive God's grace? We